Hello, this is Keith from Jesus is Lord Fellowship. I want to talk about being blessed by following godly principles. So I want to read from the book of Matthew, chapter 5, when he was teaching his disciples on the Sermon on the Mount. So I'm going to read from Matthew 5, starting from the first verse. And it says, "And seeing the multitudes, he went up on a mountain, and when he was seated, his disciples came to him. Then he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you, and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you." Jesus was teaching his disciples that, you are blessed even when you're going through hard times. I know we are in a time where people sometimes think that they're not blessed because they look at their current situation and they think that because they don't have what they see someone else have, and they might think, well, I must not be blessed, or because they're going through hard times, they thinking they're blessed. But Jesus pretty much explains to them that, you're really in a better position because you're receiving God's grace. You're receiving the benefits of salvation. And what Jesus was teaching them, he's not telling them that this is what you do to receive salvation. No, he's not saying do this and then you'll receive salvation. No, he's saying my children who already have salvation, this is how they will be walking. This is how they will be living. These are the principles on how they will be living their lives. Because if you think about the two commandments that Jesus said, he said, love God with all your heart, with all your might, with all your heart and your strength. And the second commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself. That is the second commandment. And sometimes if you read through the book of Matthew chapter 5, even to chapter 6, you will see that Jesus was saying that, we have to put our priorities in the right order. And sometimes we put people first, and things first, and our jobs first, and God last, if we have time for him. And then when things are going different in our lives, we don't understand why this happened, why this happened. And sometimes we have to look at, well, how did we prioritize our lives? And sometimes we question why this happened. But when Jesus, in the commentary, what Jesus was explaining, where it tells you what everything meant. So in verse 2, where it says, he taught them. Now it says, the Sermon on the Mount wasn't given as the way of salvation for the lost, but as the way of life for the children of the kingdom. It was instruction for those who had responded to Jesus' invitation to repent. Now, when it talks about the Beatitudes, And the Beatitudes means blessedness. It says, in the Sermon on the Mount, Christ describes the basic character traits of those who will inherit the kingdom. The word kingdom usually implies someone who is on top, who rules and has authority over others. They are the privileged. In God's kingdom, the people are not privileged because they are on top, but because by being on the bottom, they are in a better position to receive God's grace and favor. These characteristics are the reverse of what man generally values in the world. So when you think about it, when it says these character traits are the reverse of what man generally values in the world, and you think about what do man really value? You know, some value their jobs, some value people more than enough. You know, there's people out there that worship people as idols, you know, even like Michael Jackson or something like that. There's people that worship their spouse. There's people that they value cars. They value their homes. They value jewelry. They value their titles, their positions. You know, all these things they value. You know, just being rich and powerful. You know, so it says, these characteristics are the reverse of what man generally values in the world. Blessed can also be translated as happy. The signs of being blessed aren't power or material wealth. The sign of being blessed is receiving the benefits of God's grace. Now, when it talks about, you know, the Beatitudes, like I was saying, it says, means blessedness. The phrase blessed are in each beatitude implies a current state of happiness or well-being. This expression held a powerful meaning of divine joy and perfect happiness to the people of Christ's day. And so, and from a Christian perspective, the Beatitudes teach that people are blessed even in hard times because they will receive eternity in heaven. Also, we are blessed for having honorable qualities such as being meek, righteous, merciful, pure, and peacemakers. You know, God's children is peacemakers. Now, I'm not trying to say, a Christian's going to be perfect because, you know, we're sinners, you know, we're flawed, and we need God's grace every day. But you know, just think about if the stuff that's going on in this world, if people really followed these principles, how better will the relationships with the church and the people in the outside will be? You know, we have to come to God and seek his face so that we can grow. And when we grow, when we say that we're children of God, our relationship with the unbelievers or people on the outside will get better because there are people are leaving the church. There are people that are saying they're no longer believers, and there are people that's probably been in church all their lives as children. But just think about if we followed those godly principles, how better relationships will be with people on the outside. You know, we're not perfect, but we need God. You know, just think about David. You know, he seeked God. He seeked God daily. He wasn't a perfect man, but the Bible does say he was a man after God's own heart. So he continually seeked God, knowing that he needed God. I also want to read from Psalm chapter 27. Starting with verse 7, it says, this is David, a psalm from David. It says, hear, O Lord, when I cry with my voice. Have mercy also upon me and answer me. When you said, seek my face, my heart said to you, your face, Lord, I will seek. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my help. Do not leave me nor forsake me, O God of my salvation. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take care of me. Teach me your way, O Lord, and lead me in a smooth path because of my enemies. Do not deliver me to the will of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, and such as breathe out violence. I would have lost heart. I would have lost heart unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage. That was, and David seek God. You know, he seek God. He's known for being a man after God's own heart. And what does that mean? You know, a man, what does that mean when it says a man after God's own heart? You know, it says, because he was hungry for God, because he was hungry for God, he sought after God. He had a passion for spiritual things, and he tried to please God despite of his failures. His actions prove that he was a God chaser. By doing so, he made his capital God's headquarters. You know, and that's why in Matthew chapter 5, where it says, those who hunger for righteousness. Are you hungry for God? If we are hungry for God, the things in our lives will change. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. All right, y'all have a good day.